some of your money to the low-income people, but that just takes the argument away. We're saying we are serving those people. The only time that you can get a higher scholarship is if you're disabled, so it also takes the argument away from the school systems that we're going to be cherry-picking off the best students and leaving the highest cost students there. Because once again, I believe the free market system will end up building some schools that are designed to really help handicapped kids. I mean, I think the market will work if there's an opportunity to do that. Yes, sir.
Okay. Now, so we give these scholarships and money's going to the private schools. What is to keep the Department of Education from saying, okay, you've got our money, we're going to tell you what to teach and how to teach it?
In the bill, it specifically says, well, the bill, there's two ways the bill's written. The main bill basically says that there are no guidelines there. That is entirely based upon the individual who is donating the money. And then there's a second part of it that's a standalone addendum that says that there is going to be pressure to test these schools and to have curriculums and have all this stuff. And we have a sample solution for that in there. And it basically says that if you want to do that, that we have to test this against, you can't set curriculum. We can go for the standardized test. We have a limit standardized test. We limit the number of things that they can test on. It has to be a 13-year study, and it has to be directly against public schools. We can't just do it completely separately. So we try to address that in the bill to keep the Department of Education from having any control over it. And that's why we have to get Libertarian elected, because if we put this in the hands of people who are already in the system, it will get perverted. And yes, ma'am.
Can you clarify the donations? The money is private money and then the tax credit?
Absolutely. When the way the donations are set up, there are tax credits. You limit how much, okay, if I as an individual have a state income tax liability of $100, I can give up to 50% of my tax liability to one of these scholarship granting organizations. In return, I get a one-for-one tax credit against my state income tax. I basically choose where my tax dollars are going. I'm putting them into education. More importantly, this works for corporations too. So if Hill's Pet Nutrition down here has a $150,000 state tax burden, they can give $75,000 to the scholarship granting organization of their choice. Yes? Oh. Well, and the other thing I wanted to mention is even at $3,600, we spend $12,225 on every one of our students that we have in the public school system. I can send my kid down here to Topeka Collegiate for about $7,000 a year. It's gonna, for $3,600, I can have my kid in one of the best schools in town. And once again, I believe that $3,600, you're going to end up with other options coming out. The way it's set up, if I want to set up and it has to be a qualified school. In the state of Kansas, to be a qualified school, you have to register. And that's about it. So if there's a group of you who want to homeschool here, you can put your 10 kids together and combine the scholarships and hire a teacher. And you can set up your own school. You can do it how you want to. You're in charge of your child's education. But
as Andrew pointed out, the KNEA can be counted on to come out swinging on this. How do you propose to get publicity to counter the note that a first-grade teacher is going to pin on little Johnny's shirt as he heads out the door, saying what a terrible thing this is going to do to Kansas education? It may not be true, but you can count on them to pin a note on Johnny's shirt.
Absolutely. And I think that's where we have to get better at publicity. I think it's also where we have to get better at having qualified candidates who are better spoken than me, who can stand up here and explain this thing to people. If we had every candidate armed with one of these pieces of legislation and with the summary in their hand, and every time you talk to a group of people, you say, here's what we're going to do and here's why we're going to do it. Because we all know that we're not going to do this in a year. It's going to take a couple of years to beat this thing through. But it's us talking about it. This is where it's nice to talk about principles, and this is where we can actually talk about principles that people can get behind, because we have an actual solution for them to put their wagon to. So it's going to be up to everybody in this room to spread that word. It's also going to be up to us being much better publicity, doing press releases, getting on television and talking about this, and doing our part to spread the word. Yes, sir.
Yes, I just want to thank you. I haven't read it in detail. I looked over the high points. I see that you put a lot of effort in it and well crafted and are dealing with the opponent's arguments against it. I think it's very well done. I want to thank you for your effort, and also your next project on the food, whatever you called it. They're about to implement the Codex Alimentarius on us and control food. I think it's ironic Michelle Obama's planting a garden at the White House when the government's trying to make it illegal for people to have their own gardens at home right now. But anyway, I think that is a great next project, and I look forward to something as well done as your education bill.
Thank you. Thank you very much. I have some copies of the bill back there, which you're welcome to get. I didn't bring enough for everybody because they're expensive to print, but I'm cheap.
I have it on my computer.
There you go. Feel free to email me. It's policy@lpks.org. I'd be happy to send you the most current version of it. It does change. We're shopping this thing around to some of the leading think tanks here in Kansas. The Kansas Policy Institute is looking at it. The American Foundation for Prosperity is looking at it. It's up at the Friedman Foundation, which is the leading national group on school choice. And as they're sending us ideas back, I mean, we're kind of tweaking it, we're modifying it. We want this thing to be as bulletproof as it can be when we put it in the hands of our candidates. Yes, sir.
Are other states doing something similar on the food?
I haven't seen anything on food, not like that.
Well, it's good that you started here. I'd say that there's people around this country now, farmers being arrested and jailed and prosecuted for selling raw milk to their neighbors.
Absolutely.
Even people that have bought part of the cow to try to get around the laws. That's just outrageous. Outrageous.
My wife and I are big foodies, so local food is a passion for us. Once again, I really want to stress that if you have ideas, especially if you're a candidate, if you're somebody who's putting yourself out there, putting in the hard work to try to make a real change, and you want my help with the policy, with a ready tool, send me an email or give me a call. I will help you. I will find a way. The only way we're going to make a change is get people elected. And the only way we're going to get people elected is to have solutions. It's not enough to stand up on principles and say, I'm not happy with the way things are. Heck, none of us are happy with the way things are. They're not going to elect us for that. So please call me. If you have an idea for legislation, please call me or email me. I'm looking for ideas. I'm not going to do them all. I'm self-employed. I have 2 kids. I'm busy too. This is my hobby.